What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the greatest city in the world, Wrestling City. As always, I'm Taylor, and we all know that ever since Triple H took over creative control, well,
WWE is on fire right now.
but ever since he did take over, he has made a few mistakes. And today we will be looking at 10 Triple H's biggest mistakes since taking over creative control in the WWE. Now, a lot of people go back and forth on when exactly he took over full control of creative. People say that he took over in 2022 when Vince first left, but he did, but it wasn't full control. So Triple H took over creative control fully back in November or around that time of 2023. That's whenever the Janelle Grant lawsuit came out against Vince McMahon. And since then, Triple H has had full control over creative. He's made a lot of great decisions with his booking and everything that goes on with running this company, but he's also made some mistakes. So that's why today we will be going through WrestleMania's video that they uploaded, and where they just talk about what they think is the 10 biggest mistakes that he's made. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to get into this one because I kind of want to see what they say, because I mean, for the most part, it's been nearly perfect, but there are a few mistakes. So with all that being said, let's get into this one. I'm excited, so here we go.
10 of Triple H's biggest mistakes since taking over WWE. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new videos on WrestleMania XL. Number 10, glorified PR stunts. And whilst there's no question that the sheer quality of Raw, SmackDown and Premium Live events have drastically improved under Triple H, they aren't without criticism. A lot of fans feel that the shows are glorified PR stunts, and it's easy to see why so many fans feel this way. The debut of Raw on Netflix was WWE basically telling the audience how popular the product is, and they bragged endlessly about the gate number. Whilst promoting the gate number makes sense from a business perspective, it shows that the ticket prices are insanely high right now, and it puts fans in a weird position. Are they just supposed to cheer the fact that they were potentially overcharged to attend a wrestling event? Now, one thing is for sure.
That right there is what's so funny to me when you're watching a PLE or a huge show like this, and they end up breaking the largest like gate record in the company history. I mean, I don't know if people get confused when they're at the event when they hear that and they think that it's like the largest like attendance record, but when they say largest gate, it's because the ticket prices are so high and they just made more money than they have at a event. So yeah. I mean, every time they announce that and then the crowd just pops, they just start cheering, clapping their hands. I just kind of find it funny because, yeah, you guys are cheering because you guys paid overpriced for these tickets, and it's just funny to me.
WWE is red hot right now, but they don't need to remind the audience every 5 minutes. The reception of the product, along with the ratings as well as attendance, should speak for itself. This is definitely an element of the WWE presentation that Triple H is just obsessed with, and his infamous line of WWE is on fire right now, and you ain't seen nothing yet, has turned into a comedic meme on social media. Number 9, sponsorship overboard. A wrestling company such as WWE having sponsors isn't a new concept, yet this has been a pivotal focus of WWE's business model since around 2022. WWE have sponsorship deals from Prime to Fortnite, and these will bring in lucrative numbers for the company. But the problem here is that WWE potentially have too many sponsors. The map for Raw is now filled with logos and adverts, and it makes WWE's flagship show just look like one big advertisement. Now, this may not even be a Triple H call. All these...
I mean, I don't see an issue with that. I mean, you look at, like, you know, UFC, their mat, they have logos all over the mat. I know what New Japan Pro Wrestling. I mean, I don't watch it, but I see clips on like social media and whatnot, and their ring has ads all over it. So I mean, this is kind of what you expected to get whenever TKO merged with WWE. So it really doesn't bother me.
calls could likely go above his head, but WWE are definitely leaning towards a more UFC style of branding and marketing, and this is only likely to increase as the months and years go on. WWE even had a deal with Hulk Hogan's new beer company, and to promote this, they even had Hogan appear on the debut episode of Raw on Netflix, and naturally, due to Hogan's rotten reputation, he was booed out of the building. This resulted in mainstream news outlets picking up the story, and it vastly overshadowed the Netflix premiere. It was ultimately a terrible creative call that Triple H and WWE should have had the foresight to see coming. Number 8, the Wyatt Sicks. The Wyatt Sicks debuted on WWE TV
Oh
in the
my
summer of
gosh, yes.
2024. WWE hit a home run with their debut. The group had an instant aura surrounding them, and the faction...
I'm not gonna lie, I forget about them now. I mean, how in the world do you have them make a debut like that? I mean, one of the best debuts that we've seen in WWE history, and now they. I mean, when was the last time they showed up? It was like what, maybe a month ago when they lost to the Final Testament, Karrion Kross. And I don't think we haven't heard from. I don't think we've heard from the Final Testament since then yet. See, this was my issue when they brought back, Bo Dallas and the rest of these guys, where they would, for like maybe a month or two, they'd be used correctly, and then, you follow a month or two, they just kind of get pushed off to the side, and that's kind of what happened. It sucks because I enjoy their work. I wish we could see them a lot more. But, I mean, I guess it is what it is. But I agree with this one, 100%.
Was completely unique. Unfortunately, this was the standout moment of the group's run so far, as since then, the group has been presented as a special attraction, and they barely appear on television. It's evident that Triple H believes that keeping the group as special attractions will give them worth, yet the stories that the group have been involved in haven't exactly been fan favorites. The game has had a tough time striking the balance between the supernatural elements and their real-life stories. The latter of the two has been a definite triumph. However, in recent months, it looks like Triple H has moved away from this. The stable remains over with the audience, so it's not a total bust. However, the game needs to re-evaluate the direction of the group and focus on a compelling angle that will at least help get the motivations and characters of the group across to the audience. Number 7, pointless re-signings. When Triple H took over WWE creative, one of his first aims was to rehire a lot of his favorite names that had been released under Vince McMahon's tenure. Now this was the right call, as most of the names didn't receive an opportunity to show their skills on the main roster. And to his credit, the game has booked certain names incredibly well. Names such as Chelsea Green, Nia Jax, even Bronson Reed have all had acclaimed second runs in the company, yet the same couldn't be said for everyone. Triple H brought back names such as Hit Row and Tegan Knox, and they did nothing whatsoever with them. The game basically brought them back into the mix with no creative plan in place. And this was the exact criticism that fans used toward McMahon when it came to NXT call-ups. When anyone is signed or re-signed to the company, there should be a plan in place before they appear on television. Without this, they'll lack direction, and the on and off again appearances on TV will quickly make fans lose interest, and ultimately fail to get them over to the level Triple H desires. Number 6,
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't. The stress that like Triple H has to be under when he like brings back these new guys, like a Tegan Knox or Emma that we saw there. You do have to have a plan in place when you're bringing people like that back, but. I mean, it doesn't hurt, bring them back, see what they got, and if they don't work out, then hell, cut them. I mean, this is a business. Same thing happens in every other, professional sporting business out there. So, I mean, it's what you expect. I mean, and losing Tegan Knox and Emma and other guys that he's let go since, bringing them back, it hasn't really hurt anything. So, I mean,
show-style PLEs. Now it goes without saying that Triple H books his premium live event match cards completely differently to Vince McMahon. McMahon often liked to stack his match cards, and sometimes the pay-per-view events, particularly WrestleMania, could run in excess of 5 hours in length. But Triple H likes to keep his events short and sweet, and he's received major backlash for sticking to a 5-match PLE format and rarely deviating away from this. Triple H's PLEs are great from an in-ring perspective, but they lack any substance. Some fans have labelled them as glorified house shows, and it's easy to see why fans have come to this conclusion. In Triple H's and WWE's mind, the PLEs sell out every single month without fail, so from a financial perspective, the formula works, yet they could do even better. Adding 1 or 2 more matches onto the show and incorporating an element of unpredictability and excitement could take the events to the next level and truly be the focal point of WWE's creative output. Number 5.
I mean, I don't have an issue with the 5-match layout that he has for his PLEs. It gives time, for the moment to breathe, so you're not having to finish one match and then go straight into the next match, kind of like how AEW does. I know I don't watch them a whole lot, but I've seen a couple of their PLEs, and it's like with their PLEs, as soon as you finish one match, the next one's already. It feels like it's already starting. So, I don't have an issue with this at all. I enjoy the 5-match layout, and it is nice that we aren't getting 10 matches or whatever, an obscure amount of matches on, say, like a Backlash, like we would have with Vince McMahon. So I don't mind that.
How much is too much? Whilst Triple H has no issues with sticking to his established PLE match card formula, he definitely has no problem with taking on the burden of additional content outside of PLEs. Over the past few months, Raw has returned to 3 hours with there being no time limit on the show due to Netflix. SmackDown is now a 3-hour presentation. WWE have added regular Saturday night main event broadcasts to the lineup, and there are post shows left, right, and center. Again, this could all be a directive that is from higher up in WWE, yet this could be seen as way too much. This assertion is based on the fact that nobody knew WWE had a Saturday night's main event show planned for January, just 1 week before the 2025 Rumble. WrestleMania season is already a stacked time of year, and WWE needs to let the product breathe. Fans can only consume so much, and maybe putting a little extra content into the PLEs instead of random sporadic shows could be a great step forward in 2025. Number 4, pushing the right names.
I don't know about. I get it. This guy's entitled to his own opinion and whatnot, but I don't even know. I mean, yeah, there sometimes they do a little too much, but I mean, who cares, honestly? So.
The WWE have one of the most popular and beloved rosters they've ever had, but that doesn't mean that everyone is over with the crowd. Certain names receive virtually zero reaction every week, yet Triple H continues to book them on weekly television. Take for instance the Pure Fusion Collective. The lack of reaction is
the Pure Garbage Collective. That's what they are.
Resulted in the faction conveniently being known as the No Pop Collective.
Yeah, I was about to say that, or the No Pop Collective.
On social media. WWE may have been able to get away with pushing names that aren't over for a few years ago, yet when names are receiving Austin-level pops on a weekly basis, these names stand out.
Hang on, so wait, I want to go back to his last point where he talked about, is there too much? And if you guys watched my SmackDown review this past Friday, we talked about whether SmackDown should go back to 2 hours, and unless things change quick, because I know they're only 2 weeks in, but if they don't bring in a couple more big names onto that roster, then you might want to make that change to 2 hours, because it was a chore to watch a 3-hour SmackDown the other night, and it was the first time they did it 2 weeks ago. So yeah, there are a few things that they can change, and that's one of them. But I feel like that's the only one that I can think of off the top of my head. So let's get back into this one.
for all the wrong reasons. Triple H also received a lot of criticism in regards to the Netflix Raw debut, leaving out key popular players on the Raw roster, including World Heavyweight Champion Gunther not even having a match, even though they're receiving major pops on a weekly basis. But Triple H had something to say about this during an episode on the press box, saying, "I've had the same conversation with 100 people about this first episode of Netflix. I said, guys, it's one show. We're gonna try to, touch on a lot of people. There's only so much real estate within the show. You're not going to be on that show. Maybe you'll be on the second one. Maybe you'll be on the third one. Like you're going to be on these shows. We can't put all 200 talent or whatever we have on one show. It's just not going to work, but it's how they should feel. It's how I would feel if I was talent. That's something I'll..."
He makes a good point there. Yeah, I did see a lot of the criticism as well online where people talked about, oh, why didn't Gunther have a match? I think he had some kind of like vignette. People were asking about Braun Breaker. I think they just showed him in the crowd. I mean, yeah, it would have been nice to see them, but obviously WWE, Triple H, they were trying. That first Raw on Netflix was trying to pull in new fans. That episode really wasn't for us fans that have been watching for years and years. That episode was to bring in new fans or fans that stop watching the product and try to get them to watch again. That's why they had people like The Rock on there, The Undertaker, Hulk Hogan, but it felt like nobody really cared about him anymore. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll see Gunther and Braun Breaker on this coming up episode of Raw. I mean, I would hope so. Gunther is your World Heavyweight Champion, so we'll see.
Combine this, as the many legends who appeared like The Undertaker and Hulk Hogan, they took up precious time from a match that could have involved a World Heavyweight Champion Gunther. Number 3, Flop Gable. In 2024, it was confirmed that Chad Gable had re-signed with WWE. This was delightful news, as Gable had been delivering incredible work alongside Otis, and
whenever I heard this news, I really thought, because I think this was like right before, I want to say, Clash at the Castle, when he had that match against Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship. And whenever I heard that news, I really thought that he was going to become the new Intercontinental Champion, because you re-sign him, and if just felt like the perfect timing. He didn't, and he really hasn't done much since then. And yeah, I agree with this 100%. They have completely fumbled Chad Gable. What I do hope happens, now that they have this transfer window going on, move him to SmackDown, because there's really not much left for him to do on Raw. I think he just beat Otis like 2 weeks ago on Raw, so it looks like that feud's ended. And have him move to SmackDown, because I think he would make a great United States champion. Now that he's got this whole American-made gimmick, you could have the Creed brothers win the SmackDown tag team titles. So that's what I would do, and I'm really hoping that they do that, because he is an amazing talent, and he needs to hold some gold in 2025. He's got to.
His matches with Gunther resulted in a number of classic bouts. Fans hope that Gable will be able to finish his story and finally defeat Gunther to become Intercontinental Champion at WrestleMania 40. However, Triple H decided to go in the direction of Sami Zayn being the one to dethrone Gunther. Triple H will then embark on a heel turn for Gable, and whilst the character work for Gable has been great, he's mainly been used to put over other talent, which has become increasingly frustrating.
Yes, very frustrating.
Was this really what Gable expected when he re-signed with the company? But Triple H has also failed to deliver the hype Gable vs Otis feud, and he's proceeded to tease it for months on end, only to decide to deliver the match in late December after both men had already moved on.
Yeah.
Hopefully Gable soon finds himself rewarded for his work, and Gable is certainly a name that has the capabilities to be propelled into a main event role if he's given the opportunity. Number 2, the tag team titles.
Oh my gosh. I just knew this was going to be in this video. I mean, I thought this would be like 1 or 2, and yeah, God Almighty. I mean, I thought that was because when he was in NXT, I thought he booked the tag team division down there so well, and I don't know what's happened since then. It's just, I mean, the tag team division hasn't been good in a long, long time.
over creative was a focus placed on tag team wrestling, specifically the WWE tag titles. When Vince McMahon had creative power in WWE, he had a love-hate relationship with tag team wrestling. McMahon would put focus on the division for a few months, then lose interest completely. This has been a similar approach that's been taken by the game, as since WrestleMania 40, the tag titles on both brands hadn't been featured on a single premium live event. This is a shocking statistic, and it highlights what Triple H truly thinks of the tag team.
That's crazy. Wow. They weren't featured on a single premium live event following WrestleMania 40. I mean, there were multiple times where you could have had a tag team match on a PLE. But, then again, Triple H loves his 5-match PLE format. And, I mean, I know I said I enjoy it too, but hell, you can add a tag team match. I mean, tag team wrestling's great. So why not? Come on, Papa H.
Team titles. The presentation of the tag titles over on SmackDown hasn't been appalling, as DIY and the Motor City Machine Guns have been standouts. However, the same couldn't be said for Raw. The tag titles that are currently on Raw are classed as the most worthless titles in the company, and it was heavily criticized that the Judgment Day barely defended the titles during their reign of terror. In fact, out of all the days that they were champion, they only made 2 defenses. A tag team wrestling can be a great addition to it.
Reign of Terror is the right phrase to use when you're talking about the Judgment Day's tag team title reign. Oh my God, I was so happy when the War Raiders finally took them titles off of them. And I'm really hoping that soon we can finally get some more tag team wrestling involving the tag team champions in 2025. Hopefully we can get some tag team championship matches on a PLE instead of just WrestleMania. So...
any card, and putting resources and effort into making their titles mean something would certainly be a welcome step forward for the game. And number 1, call it a day. A long-term storytelling is sometimes vital in major stories getting over in pro wrestling. For Triple H, he views long-term storytelling as the number 1 storytelling device available to him. The game loves to tell a story over a period of months or years, and this was a far cry from the approach that McMahon would take, as he would often try to wrap things up as quickly as possible, even at times not even ending them at all. While certain long-term storylines under the Triple H era, notably the Bloodline saga and Cody Rhodes' story, have been expertly crafted, some long-term stories have really fallen flat. The Liv Morgan vs. Rhea Ripley rivalry dragged on for months with lazy storytelling and lousy matches.
Facts.
This resulted in the fans urging for Triple H to wrap up the feud and just move on.
Yeah, I really hope that their match on Raw is the last time that we see them in the ring together or in a program together, because that right there lasted way too long. Now you could say the same thing for the Bloodline, but they keep that story interesting. The same can't be said for Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, because at some point it was just getting repetitive between those two. But at least with the Bloodline story that's been going on for like 3 years, 4 years now, you're constantly getting a refreshment in that storyline. So, I'm okay.
The feud was initially set to culminate at WrestleMania 41, which would have meant that the game decided to keep the feud running for an entire year.
I'm so glad that they're not doing that. Oh my gosh, I wouldn't be able to go through another January, like 3 months of that feud. Whew.
Triple H without question has a habit of not knowing when to change things up, and this could be detrimental in the future, as it's vital that Triple H acknowledges how fans are feeling and adapt accordingly. But there you have it, folks, 10 of Triple H's biggest mistakes since taking over WWE. Do you guys agree with them? Let us know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.
I'd have to say that I agreed with most of them for the most part. There were maybe 2 or 3 in there that I didn't really agree with. Which one were they? I didn't really agree with where he thought that the sponsorships were a little too much. And the Chad Gable one, I agreed with that one. In the PLE format, five matches, is that enough? Yes and no. It just depends, I guess. But yeah, there you have it. Those are Triple H's biggest mistakes in taking over creative in WWE. Let me know in the comments down below if you agree with any of these. I will link the original video in the description below if you guys just want to go and watch that. But if you like these videos, hit the subscribe button. Come to the greatest city in the world, Wrestling City, for all of your wrestling content. We do Raw reviews, SmackDown reviews, PLE predictions, and reviews. And we do reaction videos just like this one. If that's your thing, hit the subscribe button because we would love to hit 300 subscribers before the Royal Rumble. But we can't do that if you don't subscribe. And until then, we'll see you guys next time right here in the greatest city in the world, Wrestling City. Peace.